Every month, there are more awesome-looking games released than anyone with a full-time job can possibly keep track of. But what about those games that haven't been released yet? It's always thrilling to see a dream video game get announced, with players basking in the warm glow of that pre-release buzz, and possibly do so many years before said game is actually finally released. But sometimes video game projects take so long to come out that you might actually forget about them during the interim, and that's what we're here to talk about today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 dream video game projects the industry and you forgot about. Number 10. Tekken Cross Street Fighter. Now you might well remember 2012's Capcom-developed crossover fighting game Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but do you also recall that it was being simultaneously developed with Tekken Cross Street Fighter, a sister crossover project that was produced instead by Tekken developers Bandai Namco? The big hook of Tekken Cross Street Fighter was that it would feature a 3D gameplay engine compared to Street Fighter Cross Tekken's 2D style, and honestly, who wouldn't want to see that? But as years passed without word of the game's development, it was quietly put on hold, but not cancelled in 2016. Every year or two thereafter, Tekken producer Katsuhiro Harada would come out of the woodwork to provide an update on the game, once making remarks that suggested progress had stalled due to underwhelming sales of Street Fighter Cross Tekken. In 2021, Harada reaffirmed that the game was pending rather than cancelled and about 30% complete. All the same, it's safe to say that all but the most die-hard Tekken and Street Fighter fans forgot about this one long ago, and it seems like Bandai Namco are more keen to focus on developing financially safer Tekken sequels instead. Number 9. System Shock 3. In 2015, a third entry into the legendary System Shock franchise was announced, with series creator Warren Spector said to be leading development. Yet despite a gorgeous gameplay trailer being dropped in 2019, by 2020 it was announced that the dev team had been let go and the project was critically behind, ahead of Tencent taking over development. As enthusiastic as the series' fans were to see a threequel, it was easy to lose sight of the game's existence between radio silence on the project and the release of last year's System Shock remake, as well as the impending enhanced edition of System Shock 2. This time next year will mark an entire decade since System Shock 3 was first announced, and it doesn't seem like we're much closer to seeing it become a reality. At the very least, it's flown so unbelievably under the radar that it would be easy to just, well, forget it was ever announced in the first place. Number 8. In the Valley of Gods. Remember Firewatch director Campos Santos in the Valley of Gods? The first-person adventure game set in the Egyptian desert was first announced at the 2017 Game Awards, but as incredible as the eye-catching initial gameplay reveal trailer looked, word on the game went frustratingly quiet soon thereafter. Campos Santo were acquired by Valve in 2018, and the next year it was announced that In the Valley of Gods had been put on hold, ultimately due to the game's head writer Sean Vanneman being moved on to work onto Half-Life Alyx. By the end of 2019, various key personnel had removed the game from their social media bylines, while it also disappeared from Campos Santo's official website, and the original trailer was even made private. With In the Valley of Gods basically being scrubbed from the internet then, it shouldn't be surprising that large swathes of players forgot about it completely. And with Valve putting the game in suspended animation to focus on other projects, they've clearly forgotten about it too. Number 7. Deep Down. When Sony revealed the PS4 in February 2013, they also announced an incredible-looking action RPG called Deep Down, which was easily one of the console's buzziest launched window titles. But the years came and went without hearing much more about Deep Down, and ultimately the PS4's 7-year life cycle passed without the game ever being released or cancelled. To this very day, Deep Down remains in a maddening state of limbo, with the last substantial update being producer Yoshinori Ono's confirmation that the game wasn't dead back in 2019. Most who tuned in to watch the game's reveal trailer in 2013 have long forgotten about it though, and hilariously even former Sony honcho Sean Layden said he had no idea what had happened to Deep Down in 2021. While some have theorized that assets from the game may have been ultimately used in Capcom's recent Dragon's Dogma 2, that's about the most that anyone has thought about Deep Down in a long time. So let's say it together. Deep Down. We all knew that this game was probably never going to come out, as amazing as it definitely looked. Number 6. The Splinter Cell movie. A big screen adaptation of hit stealth action franchise Splinter Cell was first announced in 2005, when the series' third game, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, included a CGI teaser trailer for the prospective movie, which was going to be produced by Paramount. And as movie adaptations of video games go, it seemed totally achievable, especially with the prior success of various Tom Clancy properties being optioned for the big screen. By 2012, Tom Hardy was signed to star as protagonist Sam Fisher, and Doug Liman, The Bourne Identity and Edge of Tomorrow, was then brought aboard to direct. However, Liman departed the project in 2015, and in the near decade that followed, updates of substance were few and far between. Enough so that most everyone forgot that it was actually in the works at all. But earlier this year, producer Basil Ewanek confirmed that the Splinter Cell movie was indeed dead, citing issues with getting the script and budget where they needed to be. At least with Ubisoft currently in post-production on a Watch Dogs movie, there is the possibility possibility that they take another crack at Splinter Cell later on down the line. Number 5. The Last Night. One of the most memorably dazzling E3 reveals of the past decade, cinematic cyberpunk platformer The Last Night was unveiled at E3 2017 and quickly became one of the show's most talked about titles. But that fanfare soon enough went up in smoke when social media comments made by director Tim Sorry back in 2014 resurfaced some pretty anti-feminist statements. This prompted some to demand that publisher Raw Fury drop plans to publish the game. The game missed its planned 2018 release date amid business, legal and financial issues, according to Sorry, with Raw Fury parting ways with old developer Odd Tales around this time. He later reiterated The Last Night was still in active development in late 2021 and at the start of 2024 posted on the game's subreddit imploring fans to let him cook. But beyond those few dedicated enough to subscribe to The Last Night subreddit, the lack of forward momentum combined with the controversy surrounding his past has led the game to basically fall off the face of the earth where mainstream visibility is concerned. Number 4. Shen Mo 4. Now, the excitement when Shen Mo 3 was announced at E3 2015 was nothing short of electrifying, with fans thrilled that the cult fave action-adventure franchise would finally get a third installment almost 2 full decades after Shen Mo 2 ended on an agonizing cliffhanger. But Shen Mo 3 ultimately released 2 polarizing reviews and a mixed response from fans in 2019, with many taking umbrage with its dated gameplay systems and especially the fact that it ends on yet another cliffhanger while barely moving the story forward at all. Though Shen Mo 3 was enthusiastically crowdfunded by its loyal fanbase, creator Yu Suzuki has unsurprisingly struggled to get Shen Mo 4 off the ground in the 5 years since. Shen Mo 3's divisive reception burned much of the goodwill that he built up on the first 2 games, and so even if a Shen Mo 4 crowdfunding campaign does start in the future, it's incredibly unlikely to do nearly as well. For many, Shen Mo 3 categorically slammed the door on the franchise ever concluding its planned story arc, which is intended to be 4 or 5 games, according to Suzuki. And while the franchise capping Shen Mo finale is still a dream for many, there are few actively holding out hope that it will actually happen. Number 3. Witchbrook. Witchbrook is a wonderfully cozy looking coming-of-age RPG in which players control a witch in training as she learns her craft in the seaside town of Mossport. Developed by Chucklefish, the team behind Starbound and Wargroove, Witchbrook generated enormous buzz immediately after its initial tease in 2016, but close to a decade later, it's still not out. Beyond those ride-or-die fans who cling to hope over on the game's official subreddit, however, most seem to have forgotten about Witchbrook's very existence long ago, even if what we've seen of it promises an extremely charming and polished indie RPG. Chucklefish laudably promotes themselves as a zero-crunch company, which is naturally going to make development last longer, but considering the developer was still hiring writers as recently as last year, it doesn't seem like the game is anywhere close to the finish line. While it actually seems probable that Witchbrook will release eventually, unlike some other projects on this list, will many actually still care about it when it does? Number 2. Star Wars Eclipse. Now, Star Wars is such a grossly oversaturated IP at present that it's honestly easy to lose track of everything that's in development across TVs, movies, and video games, no matter how fantastic an individual project might sound. And that's absolutely the case with Star Wars Eclipse, an epic cinematic sci-fi game developed by Quantic Dream, who made Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, which was first revealed at the 2021 Game Awards. Given Quantic Dream's track record of producing high-quality, interactive, narrative-driven titles and the game's apparent setting 200 years before The Phantom Menace, there was naturally a ton of excitement about the project's potential, but the game's public perception has faced a few notable hurdles. For one, there's the controversy surrounding reportedly hostile workplace practices at Quantic Dream, which clouded most of the discussion about this game, and it also appeared to delay development as the outfit struggled to sufficiently staff up for the game in the wake of the accusations. And so it's been suggested that Eclipse won't release until around 2027, making it overwhelmingly obvious that the thing was announced way too early, and amidst the sea of in-development Star Wars video game projects, it's just totally got lost in the shuffle. And number 1, Project Awakening. And finally, we have the gorgeous behemoth that is Project Awakening, an action RPG developed by Cygames, who made Granblue Fantasy, which was initially announced in 2016, before the eye-popping first gameplay trailer then dropped in 2018. The trailer showed off the game's astounding visual fidelity and unique environmental combat, yet while originally slated to release on the PS4, we've heard precious little about it in recent years. In fact, word went quiet enough that many believe the game to have been internally cancelled, prompting Cygames to confirm earlier this year that Project Awakening was indeed still in active development, while promising more updates in the coming months. The AAA production values and breathtaking scope of the project promised by that initial trailer are certainly a lot to live up to, but even if Project Awakening does release a few years from now, it's painfully clear that Cygames announced it far too early, as you'll scarcely find anyone still talking about it with a sense of hope in 2024. And there we go, my friends, those were 10 dream video game projects the industry and you forgot about. Hope you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. And if you want to chat further, you can do so by going over to Blue Sky, where I'm at Retro J, but the O is a 0. Hope to see you over there, and I hope that you're treating yourself well with love and respect, because you are a massive ledge and you deserve the bloody best. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.